Welcome back to WC Coins World, where we explore the fascinating world of coins from around the globe. Today, we are diving deep into the history of the 1921 British penny, a coin that holds an important place in numismatics and British history. This video will provide a comprehensive look at the design, minting process, historical context, and collectible value of this coin, ensuring that by the end of this video, you will have a thorough understanding of why the 1921 penny is so special. So sit back, relax, and let's journey through the rich history of this iconic coin. The British penny of 1921 was struck during the reign of King George V, who ruled from 1910 to 1936. The early 20th century was a period of great change for Britain, marked by the aftermath of World War I and the transition to a new economic era. The penny, a fundamental part of the British currency system, had been in use for centuries, and in 1921, the Royal Mint continued to produce these coins with the traditional design that had been established during the Victorian era and continued through the reign of Edward VII and George V. This design featured the portrait of King George V on the obverse and the iconic Britannia on the reverse. The penny was an essential denomination in everyday transactions, widely used across Britain and its empire. However, the 1921 penny is particularly interesting because it was minted during a time when Britain was dealing with post-war economic challenges and shifting trade relationships, all of which influenced coin production and circulation. The obverse of the 1921 penny features a left-facing portrait of King George V, designed by Sir Bertram Mackennal, an Australian-born artist who became a renowned sculptor and medalist. This portrait was introduced in 1911 and remained on British coinage until the king's death in 1936. Around the portrait, the Latin inscription, Georgius V. de Gra, Brit, OMN, Rex, FID, Def, IND, IMP, can be found, which translates to George V, by the grace of God, King of all Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. This inscription reflects Britain's imperial reach at the time, emphasizing its rule over vast territories, including India, Canada, Australia, and numerous other colonies. The portrait itself was well received and became one of the most recognized royal effigies in British numismatic history. The reverse of the 1921 penny features Britannia, a female personification of Britain, seated on a rock, holding a trident in her right hand and resting her left hand on a shield, adorned with the Union Jack. The design was originally introduced on British pennies in 1797 during the reign of King George III and remained a staple of the penny's design until decimalization in 1971. Britannia had long been a symbol of British naval power and imperial strength, representing the nation's dominance over the seas. The reverse also bears the date 1921 at the bottom, with the word 1 penny inscribed above Britannia. The image of Britannia was designed to convey stability, security, and the strength of the British Empire, particularly at a time when Britain was still recovering from the effects of the First World War and seeking to maintain its global influence. In terms of its composition, the 1921 penny was made of bronze, consisting of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc. This composition had been standard for British pennies since 1860, when bronze replaced the earlier copper coinage. The penny had a diameter of 31 millimeters and weighed approximately 9.45 grams. The large size of the penny made it distinct and easy to recognize, though by the early 20th century, there were discussions about whether the penny should be reduced in size due to the rising costs of metal production. However, the traditional specifications remained in place throughout the 1920s. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1921 penny is its minting process and any potential variations or mint marks. British pennies were primarily struck at the Royal Mint in London, which was responsible for producing the majority of the nation's coinage. However, during certain years, pennies were also minted at branch mints to meet demand. In 1921, there were no official mint marks on British pennies, as all production took place in London. This is in contrast to some other years when branch mints, such as those in India, Canada, or Australia, produced British coinage and added specific mint marks to distinguish their coins. Although no official mint mark exists on the 1921 penny, collectors often examine minor variations in dies and striking quality to identify different batches of production. During the early 1920s, Britain faced economic difficulties following World War I, including inflation and shifting monetary policies. The British government was attempting to stabilize its currency, and as a result, coin production fluctuated based on economic conditions. In 1921, a substantial number of pennies were minted to meet the needs of circulation, but these coins saw heavy use in daily transactions, meaning that well-preserved examples can be harder to find today. Many 1921 pennies exhibit significant wear, with details on the king's portrait and Britannia becoming less distinct over time due to extensive handling. From a numismatic perspective, the 1921 penny is a relatively common coin, but its condition greatly affects its value. Coins in lower grades, such as those that are heavily worn or damaged, may only be worth their face value or slightly more. However, examples in higher grades, particularly those with minimal wear and original mint luster, can command higher prices among collectors. Uncirculated examples are particularly sought after, though they are rare due to the high level of circulation these coins experienced. Collectors also look for errors or die variations that may have occurred during the minting process, as these can add significant value to a coin. As the 1920s progressed, changes in British coinage continued. By the late 1920s and early 1930s, discussions about modifying the composition and size of coins became more prominent, though major changes did not occur until the decimalization process in the 1960s and 1970s. The 1921 penny represents a moment in time when Britain was still using its traditional pre-decimal currency system, a system that had been in place for centuries. For many collectors, coins like the 1921 penny serve as tangible links to the past, offering a glimpse into the everyday life and economic conditions of the time. As we conclude this deep dive into the history of the 1921 British penny, it's clear that this coin is more than just a piece of metal. It carries the legacy of King George V, the resilience of Britain in the post-war era, and the enduring symbolism of Britannia. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your numismatic journey, the 1921 penny is a fascinating coin to study and collect. If you enjoyed this detailed exploration, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to WC Coins World for more in-depth coin history and analysis. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep collecting and discovering the stories behind the coins.